All right, so welcome everyone to the first edition of the New South Wales Volleyball Referees Association online referee training series. These are being held on Mondays and Thursdays during the month of August. The purpose of these is to be able to focus on refereeing topics and techniques that we believe would benefit referees of all levels, whether those that are just starting out to those who are preparing for AYBC or other national events, or just those who want to get better at refereeing in their own own way. The New South Wales Volleyball Referees Association is exactly what the name suggests. We are the Association for Volleyball Referees in New South Wales. That's what it is. But we're fortunate to have a wealth of national and international experience that are passionate about lifting your game and the referees that not just in New South Wales, but around the country and whoever wants to get better. So we kick off our series with player management, presented by Keith Suckling. Many of you know Keith as the evergreen elite level setter for UTS, but many may not know that Keith rose quickly through the ranks of volleyball officiating and attained national AAA status, which is today's level 4. Keith is also a former long-standing chair of the New South Wales Volleyball Referees Association and is currently serving on the board of directors of Volleyball New South Wales. So Keith, thank you very much for presenting today, and over to you.
Thanks, Sam. So I have player management as a topic, which is, I think it's the most fun topic of any of the topics that you're going to talk about in this series, mostly because it's the one which can actually change the game the most when you're actually seeing it. It's one of the ones that when it's done right, you don't notice, and when it's done badly, boy, do you notice. It's one of those sort of things, which is the same is true for a lot of refereeing things, but player management, it's really big. And the reason it's really big is because we play a game that's absolutely filled with emotion. We play a game that's more exciting when it's got feeling in it. When it's more, we see people celebrate. We see people's disappointment when a ball's out, when it's sort of just missed, or excitement when it's like, oh, that's just clipped the net and someone's barely touched it. And so we play this game all the time, and we see this emotion, and the more emotion that's in the game, often the more engaging it is for everyone who's watching it. It's one of those things where it's like when you see a game played without emotion, it's generally not that fun to watch, even if the skill level's really high. It's one of those things where when you see the emotion, you know you're appreciating it. The problem, as it sometimes comes around, though, is that sometimes that emotion is not really the right emotion. And the right emotion is something that you occasionally see when you're sort of reffing a game, or occasionally you're even responsible as you're playing a game. And Sam might chuckle at that thought because he'll like, yeah, Keith calling pot kettle black. But this is one of those things where it's like, yeah, it's an emotional game, and sometimes we have to monitor what goes on with those emotions. Sometimes, as I said, it's not really the right sort of one. And so what we're talking about is how do we manage this across the balance of a game? How do we manage this before the game, during the game, after the game, to get to the right place so that we end up with a game that people will enjoy watching, that people will enjoy playing, that we enjoy reffing, and that everyone sort of walks away going, hey, let's do that again. That was really fun. So I always think of this topic as being about two things, and it's how you balance them. I think of one of them being authority and the other one being leadership. Now, I try to think of it more as leadership and less about authority, but if you try to skip the authority bit, you're going to come unstuck. It's as simple as that. For those of us who are old enough to remember South Park's version of Cartman doing "You Will Respect My Authority," it's one of the fun ways I actually like to think of it, because it's like, yeah, you can be authoritative, but you don't have to take it over seriously to be authoritative. The other thing that I like to always sort of join up here is leadership. I'm using Simon Sinek's definition of leadership here. He talks about leadership being a responsibility. It's not about being in charge. It's about taking care of those in your charge. And I always like to think of it, if you're doing this well, you're looking after everyone around you. You're looking after your team, the team of referees. You're looking after the two teams that are side by side on the court. And you're looking after that other group of people who are there. You're looking after the spectators, the people who are outside the court who are looking in. If you're looking after all of those people and leading all of them into a great place, then you get to the right spot at the end of it. A few dot points that we can sort of go out about how you establish authority and leadership. First one, you project confidence and control. One of the key things about being the referee here is you are the one who decides, and you need to behave like it. When something goes along that isn't quite okay, it might be that someone else calls someone into line, but you need to be on that path as well. And so you are the one who decides, and so you need to be seen to be doing that. You need to be there. You need to be the one who calls out to everyone, hey, I've seen that and it's not okay. When someone else tells you about something that's not okay, you need to be aware of it and do something about it. And so that means not just being seen to be doing it, it also means you're approachable in doing it. So someone can say something to you and it gets fixed. An important part of that is acknowledging everyone who's there as part of that. That means acknowledging the participants, that means acknowledging the spectators, and that means particularly acknowledging your refereeing team, line judge, scorers, and everyone. It's not good enough for someone to be speaking harshly to one of them and you doing nothing about it, even if they are very experienced or they can look after themselves. It's like, yes, they might be able to look after themselves, but you need to look after them as well. That's part of what that confidence and control looks like. The next dot point here is a really super important one. You've got to be absolutely clear in your communication. You can be very clear in your communication and not say a single word. The non-verbal stuff is just as important here as the verbal stuff. It's no good to be sort of giggling and laughing when someone's having a go at someone through the net. That sort of says a whole lot about what is actually happening in that time. So it's really important that we think about how we present verbally and how we present non-verbally when this is going on and how we are managing all the players doing stuff. The next one we talk about is being consistent. This is not a volleyball example, but it's one that sort of is a very easy one. Has anyone sort of been, usually it's in a supermarket or some shop, and you see a parent talking to a young toddler? Don't do that. I've told you don't do that. Don't do that. Look, I'm warning you, don't do that. Don't do that. Look, I'm serious. Don't. And so after the third or fourth time, you go, man, that kid's getting away with murder. And that kid probably will get away with a whole lot more stuff because the parent hasn't set a line. They haven't gone, here's the line. If you cross the line, there'll be trouble. And there's a consequence. And here's the consequence. You've crossed the line, here it comes. That consistency and follow through is a super important part of player management. When you go, no, that's not okay, saying it's not okay is the first step. That sets the line. But if you don't do anything about that line when the next person crosses it, then you're not actually delivering on that consistency of approach. You've got to follow through just as much as you've got to set the line. The next one is a really important one. You've got to be proactive in what you're doing here. This is an important one because it's very easy for things to sort of just bubble along and you're going, you know what, this is all fine, it's all fine, it's all fine. It'll be okay. And then all of a sudden it's not okay. Being proactive means that if you see something, you do something about it quickly. And you don't have to be harsh about it, but you're just solving it before it escalates into something else. Because by the time it's bubbled up, it might be out of control. The expression might go, it's easier to put out a small fire than it is to put out a large fire. That's the sort of expression you're looking at here. If you can solve it before it happens, maybe that's a better place to solve it. The next point is a big one. It's very easy to work with a group of people and go, hey, we're all trying to get to the same outcome here and everyone's trying to work with it and everyone's trying to get there and then we all behave the right way towards that point. If everyone's feeling like, hey, this is the right thing to do, and everyone feels like, oh, okay, I can see that some of us are doing the wrong thing, we'll fix that. That's going to be a great way for everyone to get where they're going. The important part about that is that people know that you're there. This drops back to that first point where you're acknowledging all the people who are involved. If you've had a conversation with them about, hey, let's make sure our benches are clean, that's part of what that looks like. Hey, let's make sure we're sort of celebrating on our own side of the net, not get through the net, because we want to make sure we have a good looking game here. Those sort of things are important, but they matter more when you have some sort of rapport with your participants. That means your refereeing team, and that means the playing team. And to an extent, it even means the spectators because they see you as the leadership and authority figure that is actually controlling it and has everyone's interests at heart. Those pieces all hold together when you've got that rapport. When you see someone who hasn't got that rapport, it's actually kind of obvious. You see someone who might be doing a job, but not the whole of their job. I've had the experience talking to a referee recently where it's like, hey, you're making these great calls, but you're not really projecting that to anyone else. And so everyone else is sort of occasionally there's a blow up around a call that you've made because you haven't made it big enough. You haven't made it with the support of everyone around you. And so a call that's actually a very good call sometimes has a kerfuffle around it that it doesn't need, just because you haven't got that rapport, you haven't got that management of the game going on to actually make that stuff work really well. So an important step. Next one seems very obvious. Know the rules and apply them fairly and impartially. Obviously, that is the goal of every referee, to know the rules and apply them fairly and impartially. But as someone who's a player as well as a referee, I know very well that impartiality is something that you cannot buy. And sometimes you're put in places where it's like, this is one of those spots where I might not be seen to be very impartial in the way I'm dealing with something. So you fight to keep it as much as possible. You fight to keep the perception of it as much as possible. You do as much as you can to maintain that sense of, no, I'm here to facilitate this game and not take any sides and make sure we all get the best outcome. And that's what you try to do. That can come through in the way you dress. That can come through in the way you hold yourself while you're getting the lineups from both teams. Bearing in mind that most of us are working with people who we see every week at a court, that's one of those things that we don't want the last game to be a holdover to this game if we can possibly avoid it. Next point down, seems like an obvious one, hard to do in the moment if it's gotten out of hand though, is we stay calm. It's very easy to see that parent who we were talking about back here losing their stuff with their kid. At that point, that parent has lost control, and generally the kid knows it. And generally the kid knows that they pushed their buttons hard enough and now they're going to get away with a whole lot more. Or they're going to get a cave in or something like that where, yes, they're going to get that chocolate that they wanted because the parent's just now lost control and it's just easier to do something. Important to stay calm, to keep your wits about you and to go, hang on a sec, I'm getting a little bit anxious. I'm talking loudly, talking too fast. Hang on a sec, calm down. This is the right way to talk to this person. Hey, red card for you. You're doing the wrong thing. Not, you get a red card because you're being a really... Hang on a sec, totally different message. I feel like I've lost it there. The last point here feels like a funny one when you see it in amongst this list, but it's about curiosity. If you're curious as what you're doing as a referee at all times, chances are you'll get to a better place. I had a moment recently where I'd made a call as a second referee. The team I'd made it, I'm repping teams I play with quite regularly, so these are people who know me very well. I'd made the call and they challenged me on it and went, no, we didn't think so. I was like, well, I thought it did. Second ref came over and I, as the second ref, went over to the first ref when he sort of called me over and I said, well, this is what I thought happened. And I was getting a pretty clear message from the team that was fault against it. No, we don't think it did. I was like, okay, well, there's a video. You can show me afterwards. But for this moment, this is what I think happened. I was like, okay, that's fair. Followed them up the next week and went, hey, do you have the video of that? I'm really curious to see where it went to. And they went, no. And it's like, okay, video or it didn't happen then. Suddenly the video appears. Guess what? Didn't hit the antenna. I'd made a goof. Oh, wow, that's really interesting. So I reckoned I saw this, but that's probably not what happened. Wow, great learning. Thanks for sharing the video with me, guys. Instant respect from both sides as far as, yep, we're both looking after each other. To be fair, I play against these guys week on week and we do have a great relationship anyway. But that moment of, yeah, that's us both looking to learn from each other and go, hey, how can we do this better next time? How can we both be better people at what we're doing? Good answers to follow through on. That continuous learning helps you in so many places. As I said, authority and leadership, two different parts. So let's talk about what this will look like when you're sort of out there. Let's talk about a few things that are sort of fairly obvious when you see them, but when you don't see them, you know that you've missed them. The first one, it's step by step. We know there's a graduated approach. There's a reason we talk about the sort of, you get a yellow card, then you get a red card, and then. There's a reason there's sort of those steps to sort of doing it. It means that there's that graduated approach. There's an escalation that occurs, both from the playing side, where someone's doing the wrong thing, but also from the consequences side provided by the referee. There's two parts to that. So you've got to be aware of how you're sort of delivering that experience to the players. Second one, super important one. You've got to actively listen and observe what's going on. It's real easy to see the players who are right in front of you, right at the net as the first referee. It's very easy to see them and their initial reaction and what they're doing the moment you've blown the whistle or something has happened on the court. It's less easy to see what's going on beyond those places. I had a game just very recently where it was pointed out to me by a very good senior referee that, yeah, I'd seen what had happened in a small place, and I'd been very concerned about getting the call right, but I had missed what was going on in a couple of other places where people in the pig pen were actually jumping up and down about a particular call, had focused in one spot and had missed the broader perspective of what was going on. Needed to obviously be protecting my team as far as what was going on, but had actually missed that was happening in a particular part of the court. Pay attention to as many places as you can here to solve it. Obviously, this was going on quite a bit beyond what was natural reaction, and so that's something that I had to observe. I've also had the experience of watching an entire team go, whoa, when something had happened. I mean, admittedly, the player had picked the ball after blocking it, had come down the net, and literally he'd gone like this, like his hands were completely around the ball, and thrown it up. Great scoop, except for the fact that he'd caught it. The players go, whoa, straight away, and of course my whistle's already gone, at which point I go, right, relax, we've got it. And they go, oh, okay, all good, sorry. That moment of natural reaction is one thing, but what we've got to watch for is the other things that are not the natural reaction. This bit where they want to carry on, the bit where it's like, hang on a sec, yeah, that's the first time that's happened, and you went, oh, that can't be okay, because it just looked hilarious. And when you see people on their fellow's own team reacting that way, then you know how hilarious that touch was. But this is the thing. Are we spotting this natural reaction, or are we spotting that something else? The carry on is what we're obviously looking to pick out for. This next point, you know it looks right when we're talking about a maintenance of respect. Talked about the participants. The really key part here is, and you do it in this order, is the most important part. Protect yourself. Put your own mask on before helping others is what they say to you on the plane, and they mean it. Protect yourself first, but then protect your team, then protect the other team, and as well as that, protect the spectators. Protect the spectators seems like a funny thing to do. It's like, who's having a go at the spectators? It's like, well, no one might be having a go at them. But that bit where you're watching a player create a really bad impression for someone who's brought their young child along to the game is part of what you are protecting them from. Do you want them to see that game filled with emotion? Yes. Do you want it to see them filled with the right emotions? Yes. Not the wrong emotions. And that's a really important point. That's what that protecting the spectator looks like. Next, talk about addressing conflict. This is one of those things that's very easy to try and avoid. Lots of people like avoiding conflict when they start to see it and go, yeah, that's okay, they'll sort it out. It's like, no. You're the one in charge. You're the one who has the authority. You're the one who needs to be visible and calm in stepping in and going, hey, look, this looks like it's happening between you two. I'd like this to be a nice game. I'd like this to be good for people to watch. We don't want to be dealing with this. Let's keep that under control. If that means we've given those people cards, then that's what that means. But what we're doing is we're making sure that line is well and truly drawn. We've followed through on it, and we've made sure that it doesn't go any further than what it's gone right there, however large that is. Really easy point. So now that we've talked about those sort of things, we can sort of go, well, what do you actually do to solve this stuff? And so there's some very easy and obvious stuff that occurs. And this, I literally grabbed the pieces straight from the rule book or from the level 2 course, where you go, hey, you can give someone a yellow card. It's very obvious. Or you give them the penalty, or you go to expulsion, or you go to a disqualification, as easy as that. But that's more for the stuff that's happened after a point. Actually, there's plenty of things that you can do before you get to that point. You can use your face. That bit where you look at someone and go, that's not okay. That can happen from the moment you're starting to talk to someone. It's like, yep, that looked like a great celebration. Good point. Or, that's probably not okay, that what you've just done there. Don't do that. Very simple to do with your face to be able to cut it out. We can also use our whistle. The number of referees who use a small toot toot at someone to actually let them know that what they've just done is not okay is a nice, easy step for everyone else to understand that, hey, what that person did, oh, that's not okay. That's where the line is. That's a good step. You don't have to get to card to start to control what's going on the court. You can do it well before then. You can do it with your face. You can then do it with your whistle. And if need be, then you can use your words. Now, I say your words because those words apply right the way through the spectrum. They occur before the game when you're talking to the teams getting their lineups. They occur after the game when you've thanked them all for coming and getting them to sign the score sheet at the end. Those words happen all the way through the game, and they present a great opportunity for you to build rapport, but also for you to manage what's going on with the playing group. There are plenty of ways to control a team. That's the first thing. If you think your only way of controlling it is cards, then you need to think about those other options of how do you use your face, how do you use your whistle, how do you use your words to get the teams where you want them to go. Super important stuff to be able to get a team and get a game on the court in front of people and to look really good, even with plenty of emotion, which is what we want. We want that great, exciting game to happen. So I've got the link from a video which, you can find just about anything on YouTube. But in particular, there's a really good one that sort of is this one. And so what I've actually got is I've got it over here. Ooh, wrong link. Let's try this one. Rather than sort of talk about what happened, it's easier to actually see it. So I think we might actually just watch this one. This one's real obvious. What you do is you watch the player on here on the in the black team. They're going to hit a ball, and you're going to see these guys try to defend it, or not try to defend it, as the case may be. Fairly obvious that he took a swing and missed, and there's a bit of celebration. But now you're going to see the argy-bargy that happens afterwards. And now you're going to get to see why there's a bit of argy-bargy. If anyone sort of figured it out what has probably happened, it's one of those things that as a referee, you're looking down at the net and you go, oh, okay, that's probably a bad thing. And you're about to see it. Oh, pause too early. Seems pretty obvious when you see it in the slow motion. Actually would have been pretty obvious. Like, this is on the first referee's side as well. He's probably seen that. I'm almost certain he would have heard it as it happened. It's big and it's right there. The moment to fix that, of course, is immediately. But we didn't see the referee solve it immediately. Actually, we didn't hear his whistle. We saw his whistle at the point end, and then we heard this little walking back, and then we saw the players come back together. This is one of those ones where it's like, seems like the referee's missed his moment. Might have actually had a chance to try and solve this and actually go, oh, no, that's not okay. But what has happened is he hasn't solved it straight away, and now he's left with the players sorting it out, and indeed some of the coaches who've made it onto the court to try and sort it out. And his poor second referee has wandered into the middle of the court to try and solve this. Second referees are usually much smaller than this big, ginormous players nowadays, so it's not a really fun position to be in. So this is one of those moments of, if you could get in the way in just the right moment, you could probably slow this down a little bit. You could probably go, no, that what you did there, not okay. Let's try and solve it and see if we can actually fix it that way. So what was the actual outcome? As this sort of goes on, obviously didn't appreciate it. And then you see the referee going, okay, how am I going to solve this? We've just had this ginormous kerfuffle. What am I going to do? Card for you, card for you. It's not even the player who's done the wrong thing who's gotten the card here in this particular moment. Bit of an unfortunate thing as far as oh, well, that's happened. But, this is one of those things where it's like, think about how we can manage that situation really well. If we're on it straight away, remember, we're trying to be proactive. Like, no, that behavior right there, that's not okay. Yes, it was a clever play. No, you didn't need to yell through the net at him to let him know. Oh, sorry, that's me. Don't you love YouTube? So fun to present. Fun moment. As I said, this video's got a bunch of good moments, so we're going to go to the next one. This is one of those big points, and I think it's World Club Champs or something like that. But it's one of those big moments where you go, hey, what's actually gone on here? 350. Let me just jump forward. See if I get an ad. Hopefully it won't. So we've had a contact which, for most of us, we look at, and the expression we tend to use nowadays is, well, that's a very European contact on that attack. Is it a little throwy? Well, I mean, you can tell nowadays because the commentators use the word throw to describe what's happened. But that one's one where it's like, it's probably a little on the sketchy side. You can do it quite a bit to go, oh, that was a bit sketchy, but we've let it go and it's okay. There's a little bit of complaining going on. Yeah, it seems like it's going on, but the referee is not really responding to it very much as far as we can see. So let's look and follow what's now going to happen next. When you watch it this way, yeah, a little bit throwy, but only in slow motion. So yeah, it's a bit of a problem. And we see a bit going on through the net as well. So what do you think is going to happen now?
If you look like this, he's got one of the teeth. You can see that.
I didn't see it.
Mm-hmm.
You're right.
And of course, you've got a player who's obviously now a little bit fired up. The talking through the net's obviously been okay because we didn't do anything about it on the last point. And now it's just gotten a little bit worse. Because we haven't sort of grabbed this thing when it was like, hang on a sec, cool it, guys. I made the call. It happened. Move on. Instead, this player's now decided that, yeah, okay, I'm going to win the next point, and in a very fired up way has let everyone know that, hey, I won that point, and probably a fair bit more legally than the last point. So he's celebrated a little bit over hard, and certainly far too much nearly through the net, certainly directed towards his opponents.
Teddy, burpee burp.
So what do we see the referee doing? He's going, no, you will not do that. That is not okay. He's left with very few other choices but to call this guy over and give him a card, which he accepts rather graciously. As you would expect, he didn't have many other options at that point to give a card. But the problem was perhaps that he allowed something first to happen, and then the next response was more escalated. Because something hasn't been stopped at its lower point, it reached the next point before he had to do something. And suddenly it's like, oh, well, now it's a big stoppage. Now it's a lot more emotion than was necessary. Not a good kind of emotion, the wrong kind of emotion. And now we're stuck with a card where perhaps we didn't really need one. Maybe we could have headed that card off by going, look, I saw that. Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't talk through the net. That's not a cool thing to do. Let's fix that before we get to this point. Lots of chances to be proactive and solve the thing before it happens. Let's look at the next one. Team going after referee because they think he's missed something. Forward. This way. I hope that we don't actually do it. By the way, this video's got some great stuff if you're Sorry, we're going to have to deal with it. Free ad for a terror.
It's a biffle, Teddy. It's a biffle.
Where did he again?
Good solid point.
Is it? Okay. Let me just put cream to put on.
So what have we seen there? We've seen a couple of things in order happen. We've seen a team lose the point. We've seen the decision go one way. We've seen one team go, no, that touched someone. They've gestured at the team. They've gestured at the referees. Getting a feeling as you're watching this is like, hang on a sec, something else is going on here. This is not the first time this has happened, surely. There's sort of a feeling of gesturing at the referees, but certainly a gesturing at the other team as well. And so consequently, everyone's now at the net to each other. Even see the reaction from the player. Again, you see the poor second referee in the middle of the court.
Yeah. Did you cry? Why did you cry?
Notice he's officially warned both teams after very calmly describing to them that, hey, this was the call I made, this is what they saw, this is what I saw, we've made the call, that's That's that. That's all we can do. We've now made the call. We don't want that reaction to happen. You notice this was not a reaction that was the immediate natural one of disappointment that the ball was called in or out. This is the one that occurs after that, which is the carry-on point of, no, that. It's now ceased to be the natural reaction, and it's gotten to that place. Referee's stuck blowing their whistle, but at that point it's escalated far too far. And at that point, he's stuck with going, right, we'll do this. This is your official warnings, yellow card for you, yellow card for you. Giving it to both of them. Ran out of options at that point. You've got a bunch of people standing at the net, yellow cards quite simply. Fun times. Here's some thought starters. If you want to watch the rest of the video, by the way, some epic moments of volleyball, which you go, this is not about volleyball anymore. This is about something else. And that's one of the things that sort of is really obvious when you look through a video like that. You get through this idea of, hang on a sec, what's actually happening here? Is this about the first moment that's happened, or is this something that's led up to this moment? Is there a feeling, a vibe, if you like, that's been occurring up and up and up, and it's escalated, and finally we're seeing the point where the cards happened? That's one of the things that would be interesting to watch if you watch the whole game. Remember that these things happen gradually. They rarely just jump to being 0 to 100. They sort of occur on the way. Next one. Do the referees look like they're in control? The first referee we saw from the first clip didn't really look as though he was in control of that for a long period of time. The third referee, did he look like he was in control of that? Yeah, he actually did by the time he got it under control, but not when it was getting out of control. At both the second and the third clips, we saw the second referee in amongst all the players. Doesn't really look in control when that's happening. It sort of looks like they're trying to regain control of what's happening. A good question for everyone. Do you think any of the players were surprised when they got a card, or did they sort of expect it? This is one of those things about if people know where the line is, sometimes they've needed to cross it for themselves, and you've got to allow them to cross it if they're going to do it. Set a consequence, and then follow through. If the consequence is delivered to them, then they shouldn't be surprised. Equally, they might not be surprised. They may have fully expected to get there. Fairly sure that for a few of those clips, people absolutely expected there to be a card for them to get one. And that was part of the, well, this is what's just going to happen now. It's okay. Important question. Do any of these look or feel like they're a great looking or feeling volleyball game with those big interruptions as they happened? When you're watching a game and you see big interruptions, do you look and go, oh, this is really exciting? Or do you go, oh, this isn't good? Well, a lot of people will have the first reaction if they want to run to see a fire, but they probably won't stay to watch the game. They'll leave when the fire's off. We want to have people come and watch when we're playing volleyball. We want to see the exciting stuff. We want to see the good emotions. When the bad emotions are happening, it might be exciting briefly, but it doesn't leave a good taste in our mouths. So think about what we can do about sort of managing that. A little quote that I always like to use, again, a Simon Sinek one, and particularly related to the first bit. He talks about this thing about avoiding conflict, but to go, hang on a sec, notice when something happens which is a little bit larger than it should. Because if it does, it's probably about something else. Guarantee there was a ball there that's not about whether someone touched it or not. That's not really what everyone's jumping up and down about. Something bigger is going on, and recognizing that is important in that whole observation step. Super important to see it. Alrighty, I've been talking for a little bit, so now comes the time to talk about some Q&A. I know there are some relatively senior officials on the call, and I'm sure they're going to be keen to jump in and offer an opinion on something that I've said, so go for it. But the other opportunity is for anyone to ask questions and sort of put them in. Sam, I can't see a chat, but I'm sure there is one. Is there a place where those things are happening?
There is a chat, but it's been fairly dormant, shall we say.
Dormant chat. Wow. Okay.
So
this would be the moment for people to jump in and go, bring yourself off camera, raise your hand. I think there's a raise hand feature in Google. And let's see if we have any questions to sort of jump in.
While people formulate their questions, maybe I'll chuck one first, if you don't mind.
Go for it.
So it can be viewed sometimes that players can get upset or display emotions about referee decisions that they view as incorrect, and it escalates from there. So how should a referee handle that kind of situation? And what's sort of, yeah.
So I think you're describing one situation, but that comes through as many, many different situations. I had a fun one on the weekend, literally the last weekend. Players gone to spike a ball. Actually, they sort of, it's meant to be a quick ball. The set's gone a bit low for them, and they've literally gone and water poloed the thing across the net. Now, I say water poloed because literally you saw their hand reach onto the ball, then reach back with the ball, and then put it past the block to dunk it on the ball. I say dunk because it was closer to a dunk than a throw. So it wasn't pretty. At that point in time, the team who this is against, immediately all of them go, whoa, what the hell? And you see their immediate reaction. I've already blown the fault at this point. And so for me, the reaction is, what? It's a catch. What do you want? And they've all sort of automatically as one, you see oh, sorry, you've already called it. It's all good. That's what you're talking about as one evidence of the reaction. My reaction to them is, no, I've got you. It's fine. That was meant to be called and we've called it. Please don't do that. It doesn't look good. Let's go. Next point. Everyone goes, yep, sorry, our bad. We'll get going. That's one of the reactions you're talking about. There's another version of that reaction, though, which is the bit where that happens, blow the whistle, and then the other team complains about it. Whoa. And it's not straight away anymore. Now it's after. Now time has passed. We've passed that point of natural reaction to the moment. It's not just happened, it's a bit past it. And they've now gone to the point of, hey, we want to argue about this. And they're not asking a polite question, particularly about a judgment interpretation call, which they really shouldn't be asking about. And they're not comparing it to anyone else. They're just jumping up and down about it. It's like, whoa, cool it. We're not having this conversation. That call's been made. It's happened. Line has been set for you. Please don't carry on. Maybe they've gone far enough in the way they've done that to go, no. This is not okay the way you guys have carried on. Captain, this is the official warning, yellow card. Maybe one of them has gone way too far with it, started remonstrating and absolutely carried on. Then it's something else entirely. So same situation, but the responses are different because of how and when that happens. So that would sort of be the way I would answer that question. George, I see George's hand has gone up. George is going to have a great opinion to add to this.
Hello, everyone. Thank you, Keith. That's really a nice insight. Sharing all those experiences throughout those years. My question is, with this cohort, this group watching these presentations, and they're directly in particular to everyone, in particular to the group going to AYVC. Correct me if I'm wrong, how are we doing with neutrality? So I guess from all those years going to national juniors or youth events, sometimes you end up finding yourself, because most of the times we're talking about first refereeing, let's not forget second refereeing too. You're probably as a second referee, you find yourself refereeing your own state sometimes. So my question to you is, what advice can we give to those young referees who might find themselves refereeing people they probably know from a very, very short distance?
I think it's an excellent question, George. I think it's unfortunate when you see the impartiality part taken away from a referee. I see this in netball in this state. I go to watch my little girls' games, and they have two referees, and they are one from each club that's playing, which I think is a tremendously unfortunate situation, given they also split the court in half, and it's like quite clearly they have a team that's theirs and a team that's not theirs. I think it's incredibly unfortunate. In that situation, though, it's a known thing, and everyone does know that, that's that person and they're from that club, and that's what it is. When you're in a volleyball circumstance, you may actually have that situation, and I've sort of had the experience of being a New South Wales person on a New South Wales versus it was a Queensland game. I think at the time I've done it for an AVL game many, many years ago as a second referee. I found it to be brutally unfortunate as an item. All I could do at the time, and this was me many, many years ago, all I could look at it and go, hey, was I fair and impartial in terms of the way I tried to do it? Yes. Was that perceived as such the whole time? No. Could I have done much more about it? well, I maybe could have tried to be a lot more rapport building with the other team and make it very clear, look, I know I'm a New South Wales ref on a game, do my best for you. That's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to make sure this is a fair game. At that point in time where you go, uh-oh, this is going to be an accusation, the easiest thing to do is to not be there and to actually have that impartiality. I think it's an unfortunate situation when we end up winning. At some level, though, it's going to be the case at all times. So all we can do is do our best, build rapport with others, try and make it so we have that relationship with others that they see that, hey, we're trying to do our best for you, and see how we go about it. And then treat each other the same during the game. Treat each team the same during the game. One of the things I get in trouble for constantly, and George, I'm fairly sure you've seen this happen for me, is because I've got people who know me very well around the courts in some places, and that familiarity can breed a certain sort of level of contempt is one word, but familiarity is the word that might be the safer one. And so managing that familiarity so that you sort of work to build that rapport with everyone is one of the ways around it, would be my suggestion. I'm curious to hear what anyone else has to do it. It's certainly a tough.
I think we have a hand from Maggie.
Yeah, hi. So I have a kind of related question to what George was just talking about, which is when you, like, so I refed at Youth Champs for the first time a couple of years ago and had the experience of, I think it was a New South Wales and Queensland game, but then a New South Wales team also doing the duty and was accused of, you know, line calls being made in favour of one team rather than the other. I don't know, you know, they're kids, they're not necessarily as aware of things like their own conscious or unconscious biases as we would like to be as officials. But do you have any advice for that sort of situation, like what you might want to say to your duty team before a game like that where they are, you know, dutying their own state, perhaps?
I think that's a great problem when you're sort of aware of it. Even within clubland, you're aware of some relationships between some clubs are better than others. And so all you can actually do to sort of press on it is to remind the people who are the duty officials before the game, sometimes during the game, that, hey, this is an important game for both these teams. They want the best outcome. So let's work to give it for them. Let's work to make it nice and clean. Let's give our signals nice and quickly. Let's make sure that we're confident in them when we've got them. And when we don't know, that we say we don't know. Or we're trying to make sure our attention is good so that there's no question that, no, we made that quickly and we think it's right. And if I happen to say as the first referee overrule you, that it's not because I think you're being biased, it's because I think I had a better view, or something like that. So that everyone's clear that, you know, you're the person in charge, you're managing this as best you can. The other side of this is one that I also think is really important, though. If a player is saying something to a duty official, that duty official is part of a member of your team. You need to protect them as much as you protect yourself. You need to look after them in the situation so that they don't feel intimidated. Bias works both ways. It can be one thing to go, oh, they've made that call, but it can also be, well, they've also made another call that sort of reflects intimidation of the other team. And so super important that when they make a call, you're acknowledging them, that when you agree with them, you go, yes, agree with you. Or if you have to disagree with them, you go, no, I'm going to disagree with you and make it this is the right call. That's okay. Thank you. That was a good attempt. We'll keep moving. The importance of keeping that person protected and doing the next line call as best they can is the important part there. And all you can do is manage that moment to moment. But you set it up beforehand by making sure you've got that rapport with all your participants, your team, the duty team included, so that they know that, hey, we're here to do this together. I'll look after you, but you need to do a good job for me as best as possible, and sort of progress it that way. Certainly a common challenge in so many settings. Good question.
Any other questions anyone might have? David?
Thanks, great presentation. I've got a question around, you mentioned around self-presentation, and part of the perception of being in control is about the way we present ourselves, the way we conduct ourselves, and what we do, even more so than what we say. I'm interested in the other side of the line around how do we, so that we are in control of the game, that we are there doing our job to be impartial and effective without coming off as say, arrogant or making it about us. The way I've heard it described quite usefully in the past is we don't want to insert ourselves into the game. We want to be like a conductor of an orchestra, not a player. So I'm interested to hear your thoughts on how do we kind of sit in there to be firm and assertive enough without being arrogant and aggressive.
I've seen a bunch of referees who have fallen on the wrong side of that equation, where they are too passive and too introverted almost into something. I said something to a referee just this last weekend who I was actually playing the game for him. I said to him afterwards, I thought he made bunches of really great calls, but that when he made them, he would almost look worried and almost caused a few more people to jump up and down at him when they shouldn't have. I said to him, like, you should be very confident in your calls. You're making really good calls, but you should take the space and sort of own your calls, because they're good calls. Like, you should be confident in what you're doing. You're refereeing very well at the moment. Keep going. Don't be sort of shy in it. I think the question as you're asking it, David, is a good one, because there is that line of how much authority are you showing versus how much leadership are you showing. If you're showing just authority, that's where I think that definition of arrogance and lack of concern for anyone around you, and even the idea that maybe as a referee, that arrogance is coming out of, this is about me. Something many of us are guilty of at some point in time is we've sort of thought about it and gone, this is all about me. Rarely is a game ever about one person. It's about a bunch of people. There are at least 14 people who are involved in every single game. There are probably many, many more than that, because we're not counting the ones who are watching, the ones who are side by side on it. And so the important part, and I can suggest to there, is think about it as a leadership issue, not an authoritative issue. That's one of the reasons I like that word in there. When you're authoritative, you do say what you need to say and get it done. You're the one who sets the line and holds everyone to it. But equally, as a leader, you're doing that with a level of care. It's not about you or about your version, and I don't mean you personally. What I mean is you as a referee, the person as the referee. When we hear that, we want to go, no, I'm looking after what's going on. That's what I'm trying to do. What's going to help that situation? How can I take that forward? With that sort of expression within our brain as we're sort of progressing through it, we should end up in a better place where everyone goes, no, we can feel that you're trying to do the right thing. That bit where you spot authenticity or genuineness in someone, it's hard to fake. It's easy when it's not right. You can spot it. And so that's an important one I would sort of have in there, is the more you can be in that place where you are looking after everyone, you are trying to facilitate that good game, that you use the word conductor. I think that's a really good way. I've described it to many people as, if no one even noticed you were there, you're doing a great job. But that's the sort of element that we sort of would hold on to that as much as possible. How can you help everyone believe that you're there not for you, but for everybody else to do what they need to do to make it a good game?
Great insights, Keith. Thank you.
Thank you, David.
All right. Any last questions? Burning questions? You can always email Keith at any time, I'm sure.
Bail me up on the court, as is usually the way. Yeah. Gee, Keith, when you were on the court, that's not the way it seems to... Oh, yeah.
You've just gotten grumpier as you've gotten older.
No, I'm the same.
I think he's been fairly consistently grumpy throughout. No, it's been good. Thank you, Keith. That was a great presentation. Lots of good insights. I think, for myself, what I got from it, we want emotion in the game, but the right emotion. We're going to protect ourselves first, and I love your analogy with protecting spectators and what that actually means, because I think that perception is not always in people's minds when they're refereeing a game. It's sort of like, how does this look to the kid that's coming to watch and might consider playing volleyball later on? Letting people know where the line is, addressing things early, and to keep curious and learning. So there's lots of great takeaways. We'll make the slides available, I'm sure, to everyone. So we'll send that out as well. If you can all join me in thanking Keith in your own way. Thank you. Just a reminder of the rest of the series. So for the rest of August, we have 7 more, Mondays and Thursdays, pretty consistent. We've got a variety of speakers and topics that we'll go through, and we'll definitely have great insights and key takeaways. And at the end of the day, help 1 or 2, 3 key takeaways that help us sort of think about our refereeing and our approach and help us improve is what we what we strive to aim for. So I hope you found this session informative, helpful, insightful. And yeah, any follow-up questions, if you want to send it to Keith directly, if you don't know, you can send it to us and we will definitely pass them on and sort of get back to you. So yeah, thank you for spending your time on a Monday evening, and look forward to seeing you at the next one. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, Keith. It was really great. Sam, I'd love to have the link if you could.
Yes, sure. No problems.
Thank you.
We'll make that available. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks all.
Thanks, Keith. Thanks, Sam.
Great. Bye.
See you.